From the Beaver County Auto Studios, it is Pittsburgh Sports Live and Beaver County Auto. Visit them at beavercountyauto.com. They'll make a bub Beaver believer out of you. Hi, I'm Dan Kingerski. What a day to have a Penguins chat, huh? I want you to hop on to the message board or catch me on Twitter at the Dan Kingerski. Just in case you don't know how to spell my name, there you go. So let's get into this straight away. I know most people assume I'm always about 5 minutes late to do these, and everybody kind of jumps in a few minutes into it. So if you're joining us late, that's going to be your tough luck, right? Let's dive straight into this because there's a fine line that I don't walk very well between not suffering fools, imparting knowledge that I'm able to acquire or have access to when others don't want it. There's a lot of, human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. That's what's going on here. There are people on Twitter just aching to convince me that Matt Cullen is a problem for the Penguins. And they have allies who are just bursting at the seams to make me tear down Jack Johnson. And still, the Matt Murray people are being really quiet for a little while. They're sitting on their hands letting the Johnson and the Cullen people just go ape crackers. Who else is... Oh, that's right, yeah. So let me get this straight for so many people. Matt Cullen's a problem. Jack Johnson is a problem. But Daniel Sprong should play on the top line. If you hold any of those three opinions, you're missing a lot of knowledge and context that hopefully you'll let us bring to you. Hopefully you're open-minded enough not to have just clicked and been gone. This is going to be a unique little show here. You see, Matt Cullen, here's the first go-round, right? Dad. A 38-point fourth-line center because he just fit in that groove. You had Brian Rust on that line, and sometimes they'd drop Connor Sherry down on the fourth line. On the other side was Tom Kuhnackel back when TK was a bit more aggressive. We'll come back to that picture if you like it. Don't worry. It was a very different sort of... let me add a cross dissolve, too. It was a different fourth line. And I broke it down last night. Let me see if I can get to it quickly here. First goal. Prime example of what's going on last night. There was a Twitter guy the goal was Cullen's fault because Cullen lost the faceoff too cleanly. Are we going to get to that level of minutia now? Now that if Sidney Crosby is under 50% one night on the faceoff circle, that, it does. It boggles my mind sometimes. The emotional opinions people can grab onto and not let go. But nevertheless, I will answer every question and every comment here on the Pittsburgh Sports Live YouTube page in the manner in which it was asked. You ask me an honest question like, hey, why don't I think Sprong should be on the top line? I'll answer it in genuine honesty. If you throw some snark, I'll pick it up and throw it back. That's just how we're going to roll. I want to say hi to Kurt, who I see has already jumped on to the chat board. I definitely participate as much and as often as you can. So, Matt Cullen, first goal last night. Matt Cullen loses the faceoff. Grant comes over to take JSD in the slot. So far, so good, right? No. I can't show you the highlight legally. I know there are some people who do that on YouTube. I've been very curious as to how they get away with it. I think it's a matter of just not getting caught. I know I'd get caught. I know for a 100% certainty that I would get caught. But I'm going to try to pause the exact moment just to give you that idea. Sprong goes to the slot to cover JSD as well. So Grant and Sprong are both on D. That left the left point wide open. In fact, let's see if I can get to it here. Yeah, let's see if I can blow this up now. I can. Ha-ha. Now, where is it? Oh, I lost my source. So it goes, right? Or did I? Just bear with me here. I'm going to have it in, what do they say, 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. Anywho, Sprong takes the wrong man. Murray doesn't see the pass because it's in traffic. Mata is defending. Alexiak is taking, I think it was Brian Boyle at the net. He's a pretty big guy. You know how it goes. Come on, hurry up. Interesting. Very interesting that I don't yet have it. Anywho. Yep, we're on the 5G. Not sure why I don't have it. Looks like everything's updating. Hopefully we're on the right Wi-Fi here, phone and iPad as well. Anyway, Sprong takes the wrong man. Devils are up 1-0. On the third goal, again, at no point is Matt Cullen or Jack Johnson or really Matt Murray at fault. I think Murray was kicking himself for that first goal, if you want to know the truth. Murray didn't say which goal that he was upset about. He didn't specify. But I think it was the first one because he kind of stumbled over there, didn't get... I think had he seen the pass clearly, had there not been a ruckus in front of him, he's waiting for that Will Butcher shot. The crest gobbles it up. And there we go. But it's part and parcel of the systemic nature of what's going wrong with the Penguins. It's so much bigger than one player or the one player you feel like you need to blame to protect your favorite player and all of that garbage that goes on. The Penguins are staring in the mirror. And for all of you who are over 35 or 40, you have this day when you look in the mirror and you say, who the hell is that old guy staring back at me? Who the hell is that? The Penguins are having that moment. I'm proud to say, and forgive me for patting ourselves on the back a little bit, this has been a drum Pittsburgh hockey now has been lightly beating for 6 months and really beat hard a month ago and there were other media people in the locker room the last couple of games asking the question, are they faster than you? Were they faster? Was Toronto faster? Were the Islanders faster? Was New Jersey faster? Those media folks are asking the question. I'm going to give you the answer because I've been giving you the answer now for some time. The Penguins are a fast team, but so is everyone else now. Everyone else is on their level. And the reason I so trumpeted the Penguins' play on the beginning of the 4-game West Coast trip, it wasn't that they were cohesive, they were, or that they got lucky, they didn't. They were playing that vicious cycle game. What the Penguins are now is a good skating team with a lot of bulk, truth be told. They've got big, heavy bodies now. Yet, when they look in the mirror, they're not seeing the old guy who's stronger than their opponent. They're still seeing that fast team that could outskate others. Look, New Jersey won 3 of 4 last year. New Jersey was 3-0-1 against the Penguins last year. Last night wasn't a surprise, yet for some reason it seemed like it caught the Penguins by surprise. Montreal played the same kind of gritty speed game. So did the Islanders. So did, for intents and purposes, so did Toronto. They just amped the speed up and blew the Penguins out of the building. And the Penguins, not realizing their position in life at this point, are trying to create offense off the rush against teams that can skate with them. They're trying to transition with a team that's as fast in transition. And it's going to take, I think, a realization and an awareness of that. Look, New Jersey. I think it was Jay Caulfield last night that diagrammed New Jersey got 4 guys back in the zone. That's the exact same thing that the Islanders were doing to the Penguins. The exact same thing that even Toronto did. Sure, let the Penguins flail about on the outside of the zone. Let Malkin-Kessel get frustrated on the perimeter and attack. I can see it. And maybe that's because I don't know as much as the coaches. Perhaps there's more going on. I'm going to get to the chat board here. I want to reward everyone who's hopped on with us. Kurt doesn't understand how this team can go from looking unbeatable to not being able to win. Matt Cullen is far from a problem. I don't see what anyone else sees in Daniel Sprong. Kurt, I just touched on it. Let me directly answer why they've gone from so successful on the road trip to now losers of 4 straight. Skip the losers point. They've lost 4 straight. It's the style of play. They got big, mean, and physical and gritty and fast on the road trip. They cycled. They held the puck. They controlled the puck. That alleviated pressure on the defenseman. Which, by the way, we should get into the, let me make a note here. Defense. Real big. Can you see what I wrote there? Plus some of my notes from last night. And in that style of play, the Penguins were superior to their opponents. That's why they won 4 straight. I mean, they did shoot out with Edmonton. And Edmonton, despite gobs of talent, I wonder how long before Quenneville is their coach up in Edmonton. Great piece on The Athletic, by the way. I guess I shouldn't trumpet the competition, but I don't care. I like The Athletic very much. I like Josh Yohe here in Pittsburgh and Seth and Jesse. I love The Athletic in Chicago, too. My old boy, Mark Lazarus. Took Stan Bowman and the Blackhawks to the woodshed for firing Quenneville today and the whole power struggle. And Laz has been in that soup for a long time, 5-6 years. So he knows where the bodies are buried, and he laid it out pretty well today. So tip of the cap to Mark Lazarus. Check out The Athletic Chicago when you get a chance. Anywho, let's go to Brad, one of our chat regulars here. Since the Pens are not going to win with speed anymore, would Jim consider trading Hags to wake up the team and maybe bring in a winger with better scoring touch? No, I think you need the speed, though, Brad. I think you need that puck retriever alongside Malkin and whatever other winger is on the right side there. Without Hagelin on the left side last year, and it was a smaller sample, but Malkin's numbers had a big drop. Hagelin gets the puck for Malkin and Kessel. I can tell there were some Kessel fans because The numbers went down like immediately when I mentioned Malkin-Kessel getting frustrated on the perimeter. I don't know if you read the column I wrote this morning, published it at 10 a.m., the full analysis of the Penguins. I did drop a little bit of a nugget in there for you, and I wonder how many people were going to pick up on it. So I'll tell you what that little nugget is. I believe Phil Kessel is dealing with a nagging lower body injury. I don't know if I can share everything I know. Like a guy like Jason Mackey or Josh Yohe shares some inside baseball stuff. They can do it. If I do it, I tend to wonder what some of the reaction might be. Obviously the Penguins can be touchy about certain subjects, and so just suffice it to say, I believe that Phil Kessel is dealing with something nagging lower body. That's maybe why he looked at times disinterested last couple games. Yeah, he's not been very good. He had 5 turnovers Saturday. I didn't look at the stat sheet from last night, but it doesn't really. Actually, the stats last night were the most misleading tripe I've seen in a long time. If you looked at the stats last night, the Penguins were almost even. They were right there in the game. Anybody who watched that would know what a farce that belief would be. Let's see here. Justin, is Sully going to keep 87, 71, 81 on different lines, like towards the end of the game? I think someone just tweeted it looks like that way in practice. Yeah, I haven't looked at the practice lines yet. But I wrote this morning at 10 a.m. before practice that the Penguins lack any balance. That is one of the bugaboos we should be talking about today. The Penguins lack any balance because of that Malkin-Kessel combo. Sheahan just doesn't drive offense. Sheahan needs a winger to drive the offense. Brian Rust and Hornquist just aren't going to do it. They're good players in their own right. All 3 of them, actually, are good players in their own right. Kessel showed an ability to score goals on Riley Sheahan's right side. In fact, Kessel produced more offense beside Riley Sheahan last year than anyone ever has in that sort of time period. Now, that's not saying much because Sheahan, before he came to the Penguins, needed 81 goals to score, or 81 games to score his first goal of the season. So it wasn't, like Sheahan was prolific before he came to the Penguins. But just as memory serves, I think Kessel popped 15 goals alongside Sheahan last season, which would make that a pairing worth considering. The Malkin-Kessel combo, when things are right, is extraordinary. When things are wrong, it is a drain and a drag. Because they get frustrated together, that frustration multiplies, right? You've seen it. You just look at the last few games. When things aren't going well, they get dark. And Malkin makes turnovers, and they try too hard, and they get individual, and it doesn't work. So, Justin, if they did separate them in practice, I'm all for it. I think that's a smart move, and I think it's better for the team that way. Let's see here. Can't panic over a slow start. It's too damn good not to come out of this funk. They will come out on fire next game. Sully will make sure of it. You know what, Kurt? We all thought that last night, too. But they hit the snooze alarm, didn't they? So hop onto the chat board, if you will. I appreciate everyone. Corey asks, what's wrong with the power play? You know, it has been a total drain, and Sid even mentioned it Saturday morning. Sid tossed a little shade at me Saturday, by the way. I was proud of him. he was a little sarcastic. I appreciated that. It wasn't Sid's patented answer, and what I asked Sid It was a legit question. I didn't ask anything stupid. I asked him, having trouble with the Islanders, having trouble with the Canadians, if there was any common thread between those two teams and how they played the Penguins. Kind of bearing in mind, I had an answer I wanted or a couple things that I knew. And so it's like, well, long season, you're not going to go undefeated, right? Touché, Sid. I got you. But what's wrong with the power play? I think it's just a little bit of confidence. That Sullivan mentioned last night, their overall swagger. And I think that counts the power play. Their swagger, even on the power play, is gone right now. Teams are attacking Kessel, so he doesn't have that time and space to show that playmaking ability. When they're attacking Kessel, they're doing so. What I've noticed is they're attacking him and that cross-ice pass. So they're essentially forcing him just to kind of wrap it around the boards or back to the point. And at which point they're pressuring the point. And Chris Letang as well. So the Penguins' lack of a second point man as well is hampering them. The second unit had a good little run, but Riekela is not necessarily the guy you want on that second unit power play. Nor is Jack Johnson or Oli Mata. The guys they've been being forced to use, and that's a domino effect of Justin Schultz, right? So I can't... I haven't diagnosed the power play. I haven't broken it down, go nuts and bolts with it, but it's lacking snap, that's for sure. And not only is it lacking snap, it's giving the other team chances. Toronto had good shorthanded chances. New Jersey had good shorthanded chances. And I'll lay a little bit on Phil Kessel's feet. Only a little bit. Obviously, Sid isn't playing down below the dots with the puck. He's not drawing the opponents there and making plays. Hornquist isn't creating enough space in front of the net. Just go down the line. Everyone is not doing their job or performing their role as perfectly as they otherwise would. Hop on that chat board. Let me jump on Twitter. I wanted to get to some of the stuff I was getting last night. I was getting some real doozies on Twitter last night. By the way, let me reach out here. There were a couple leftover shirts from last night's game. And I don't want to benefit by giving them away. So I will ask nothing in return for giving that shirt away. What I will say, how can I benefit? How can I not benefit from giving that shirt away? So I'm writing down a number. Comments from here. This numbered comment will get the shirt. Okay? And I will send it to you at my own cost, presuming that you will wear it in good faith and to promote the cause of Hockey Fights Cancer. Deal? Lovely shirt. Sent to you for free. Presuming you're not... I should do some like contest rules, right? Judges' decisions are final. Available only in the continental United States and Canada. Will not ship overseas. If you become a hassle, I just won't ship it at all. If you troll me, I reserve the right to rescind your prize. How's that? Have I covered all of my bases here? Theodore says, Theodore's comment was held for my approval because he said, just please put horny back with Sid. We have a language filter on, and it picked up, Theo, it picked up the horny as a foul word. I don't like Hornquist with Sid. I like Simone much more than I do Hornquist. So does Sid, by the way. I think they're figuring things out. Simone is still inconsistent. He's up and he's down. but he still plays with the puck. And actually, that's the funny thing. When he's playing with the puck, he's driving the line. Perhaps he should do a little less of the driving, a little more riding on the line. But no, I think the Penguins have something there, something to cultivate and nurture. Of course, that could change very quickly, right? In fact, it may have changed at practice. I'm here doing this, they're at practice. Theo continued, even a guy like Rust doesn't look the same. Yeah, Rust has had a difficult time finding space this season, hasn't he? Oh, here's the... Rust has had some scoring chances, but no one has sprung Rusty on breakaways, and he hasn't been able to get behind defenders. But I'll tell you, just as I think out loud, Theodore, the biggest problem for Brian Rust is that the Penguins are not getting in on the forecheck. That's his forte. A hard, aggressive forecheck that creates problems for the opponents, creating turnovers. That's his game. And the Penguins just aren't able to really wreak havoc right now on that. And I'm not sure if it's a systemic thing, if it's a want-to thing. I'm not sure where that lies. I guess we'll find out. Let's see here. Wait, one. By the way, the fourth comment was the person I was giving the T-shirt to. See, wait. The lights. Yeah, see, 4. So let me see here. From Theo's comment, Brad. Hey! Theodore wins a T-shirt. So do me a favor, Theodore, DM me on Twitter, at the Dan Kingerski. I will send you a T-shirt. In fact, let me tell Theo that he won. There. Okay, let's see here. Going through more comments. That's what this is for. Brad says, I liked ZAR, the bit he got to play with Sid last year. There were 2 Zach Aston-Reeses last year, Brad. In the first stint, he was a little slow his first 4 games. He was a bit tentative, slow as wide-eyed rookie. I talked to him a few times. I enjoy talking to Zach Aston-Reese. Flat up, I enjoy the kid. He'll usually give you some information. Like he'll talk about the game, which I very much appreciate. He'll talk about that, and he's honest. Once he got paired with Sid, he had a burst of, I think it was 5 points in 6 games. If I'm off by a point or a game, forgive me. Then he got hurt, and he missed that month, and he came back. And they put him with Sid again, and it just wasn't there. He really didn't score much after he came back. Even into the playoffs, he had only 1 assist before Tom Wilson's goonery took him out. So I'm going to actually... Wait, make sure I spelled shirt right. Yep, I spelled T-shirt right. I wanted to make sure I put the R in there. Where was I? Oh, Aston-Reese. I'm not sure Aston-Reese is the right guy to call up right now. Actually, he could definitely help the Penguins in place of Daniel Sprong. Aston-Reese is a better player in the NHL right now than Sprong is. I wonder if... I genuinely wonder if Teddy Bluger can handle third-line center duties. I really am curious about that. I would, from what I saw in training camp, when he was a Tasmanian Devil, I'd be curious to see what he could do. Derek Grant, I've got a good sense of where he fits in this system. He's an NHL player. They could, he's 12th, 13th forward. Not necessarily indispensable. Matt Cullen is a very good fourth liner. And they played Cullen too much. They were playing Cullen 15 minutes a night on the road trip, 16, 17 minutes even, as that third line center with that shutdown line. And it's not a coincidence that Cullen's play dipped after a few of those nights. At 42 now, he turned 42 last Friday. You just don't want to do that to him. And so he's back down to 9 and 10 minutes. I think that's where he should be. Maybe Bluger can. Maybe he can produce some offense there in Brassard's absence. Certainly someone has to. Riley Sheahan will not, unless they stick Phil Kessel with him. So all of you guys you who can watch Twitter, if you can let me know what the lines were at practice. They're also, I guess right now, I'm looking at Jonathan Bomboli's Twitter feed because Shelly Anderson is not there. Shelly's a part-time professor, and Tuesdays are class day for Shelly. So I'm here, she's in class, and anyway. They split up the power play units as well. Let me see if Jonathan tweeted out the lines. JB, thank you in advance. Okay, here's the lines. In fact, let me see if I can get the display up finally. What it looks like is this odd line. Here you go. Here's Jonathan Bomboli's Twitter feed. Simone, Crosby, Rust, Hagelin, Malkin, Hornquist. Good move there. Gensel, Shea, and Kessel. That line, no. Gensel, Gensel last year did not hold up his end of the bargain on that line. Perhaps it's a different Gensel. But that line was terrible last year. Defensively. It was a black hole. But we're going to try that again. If Gensel plays, hard on the walls and plays a bit more of a gritty game, that line could indeed work. Cullen on the left wing, Grant in the middle, and Sprong on the right side. Johnson, Letang. Johnson played well with Letang last night. Since everyone, was up in arms that he was on the ice for 5 goals against in Edmonton, he's on the ice for no goals last night. Funny how selective information can be, huh? Anywho, Dumoulin, Ricola, Mata, Alexiak. That's where we stand. Interesting little lines there. I think I may swap Simone and Gensel. Make it Gensel, Crosby, Rust, and Simone, Shea, and Kessel. I think Simone will be a better puck retriever on that line than would Jake Gensel. What do you think? What do you think of those lines? Let me jump back, catch the chat here. Oh, wait, there was one comment that I wanted to get to. Chris, hey, Dan, it's too soon for an earthly shakeup. This isn't on Sully, but his message is falling on deaf ears, especially the bottom 6. I don't think so, Chris. I mean, look, we just saw Joel Quenneville get axed today. So I guess no coach is ever safe, right? A guy as good and as respected as Quenneville. And Quenneville was loved in the Chicago room, by the way. He was hard on them. But they respected the hell out of him. He won the NHLPA poll this summer as the most respected coach by his players. Or no. It was the guy players most wanted to play for. Quenneville won. So can I completely discount that Sullivan, his message is hitting some deaf ears? Can't ever say for sure, but I would steer away from that for now, Chris. The reality is the bottom six is just not good. When you have one player on the fourth line who's literally at this point 50-50 to make the right coverage, that puts you back. When your third line is just a chaotic mess, I don't think a coach's message has anything to do with personnel at that point. When you're taking fourth line guys and asking them to be third line guys, I don't think a coach's message really resonates, or the resonance of the coach's message isn't necessarily a problem there. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, let me get back into the chat. Appreciate everybody. Man, you guys are active here. Let me try to catch up. The team kind of reminds me of when Bilesma was here, and they couldn't do anything versus teams that play hard defense. Boy, Kurt, you might be on a little something there. There is definitely something to how the Islanders, the Canadiens, and Toronto and New Jersey have played the Penguins. There's something to it. Now, I am willing to let it ride for now. I've given you my opinion. I published the column. In fact, I should tweet it out here again right now. Hopefully you can spread the column, spread the word, get it out there for us while I'm doing the chat here, because I can't be pushing social media stuff, and I have to push social media stuff because that's just Pittsburgh Hockey Now's position in the market. I don't have 100,000 newspaper subscribers to make fun of on television. I don't I don't have a $40 million trust fund to hire all the biggest names and waste the money learning. So maybe you can give me a little bit of a hand here. All right. Let me close out Jonathan's Twitter. I'm getting a little bit of a sore throat, too, so bear with me. Back to the chat. Yeah, but there's certainly something to be said for teams that just come at the Penguins. And I'll default to, fine. Let those teams come at the Penguins. The Penguins should just start beating teams up. Adopt a Sidney Crosby gritty below the dots, hammer them on the wall, and then transition. Soften them up. And then if you want, get a couple goal lead, let the horses out of the barn and go for it. But to try to run headlong into a packed defensive zone. And look, one of the ways you beat a packed zone is you let the defenseman kind of blast away. You send your guys deep in, low to high game, blast the puck from up high down low and fight for those loose pucks and get a couple greasy goals. The Penguins really only have one defenseman capable of playing that kind of game, Chris Letang. And that has to be a bit of a frustrating part. Justin Schultz was good at that game. Schultz has a bomb for a shot, but also a sneaky wrist shot that seemed to know when to make a left at Albuquerque. Bugs Bunny reference for you millennials who weren't allowed to watch it because of some culturally insensitive and inappropriate remarks from Bugs Bunny. They were really funny, by the way. Not just the remarks, but like the entire show. You poor generation were denied that, and because a pig stuttered, and anyway. Where was I with? Justin Schultz from the point, sneaky shot, getting through. As good as Alexiak is on the right side, I think he's actually a decent right side defenseman right now. Although last night he and Mata were just a sinkhole. They were brutalized last night, in part because the forwards left them to be brutalized too, left them for dead a couple times. As a third pairing right-sider, I could go, yeah, but you don't want Jamie Alexiak being your second pair right side. That's just, that if he's going to get prime time light, that's not where he's going to shine. Was it a mistake, Chris asks, to sign Russ to a $4 million deal? Well, what, 3.5? Way too much money for bad hands. Couldn't they have used that money elsewhere? Yeah, I wondered about that. I thought the ceiling for Rust was $3 million, like Connor Sherry a year before. But he got paid, and I don't know if the Penguins had to deal Rust, if they could get much for him. Yeah, Rusty is in a bad sort right now. I think on a team like New Jersey, you'd see the real Brian Rust again. Or a team like Toronto. I think there's a lot of teams who are who could use a guy like Brian Rust, who are, faster than the fast teams. I should say the fastest teams could definitely use a Brian Rust. Interesting discussion, isn't it, though? That was one. You can't criticize Brian Rust. You can't criticize Jim Rutherford. It was kind of like that was the market for the player, and they had to keep him around. Hey, tweet us as well. Appreciate everyone jumping in on the chat. What else did I want to get to? I've got. I don't know if you realize we published 5 stories from last night through this morning. No one has you covered like Pittsburgh Hockey Now. If somebody, I will put the analysis that we have given you on Pittsburgh Hockey Now and the analysis that I'm offering now, I will put it up against anybody. The depth and the scope and the context that we've brought. And if you want to just do some light reading, there's a funny story Shelley Anderson had with Juuso Riikola. But let me see what else I've missed here, because I want to go through the entire analysis column. The injuries have really hurt. I just mentioned Justin Schultz. And Derek Brassard's absence is causing a fourth-line center to have to play in a third-line role, and that makes the Penguins deficient. Yes, the Penguins had depth, but they had depth at a fourth-line level, not so much at a third-line center level. I can tell you this in good faith, that I had been told by multiple people around the Penguins, industry sources, team sources, the Penguins really like Riley Sheahan and like him as a third-line center. At least some of the coaching staff does. I don't know if it's unanimous, but I know there's at least one strong opinion in that room to that effect. I don't see that. I just don't see Sheahan as a third-line center. But the Penguins felt like they had their backup third-line center, and if they felt like if Brassard went to left wing with Crosby, that Sheahan could step in. I don't share that opinion. If Derek Brassard's spot is at left wing on this team, be it with Malkin or Crosby, then I think the Penguins have to find a way to acquire a third-line center. I like Sheahan actually as a left wing. I think Sheahan could be a solid, a decent third-line left winger. It would take some work with Mark Recchi. Come off the wall more often. Get in the corner, come off the wall for that shot. That should be Sheahan's bread and butter play. You should see it 2 and 3 times a game. He's got a wicked wrist shot, this Sheahan. He curls that thing and uncorks it, and he's caught post with it this year. He hasn't lit the lamp with it, but it's really good. I guess we've talked about balance with the lines. And I've gone into the systemic issues. I want to see more gritty, below the dots, on the wall play from the Penguins, especially when a team like New Jersey can outskate them. You're just not going to win with a speed game when the other team has more of it. That's like trying to punch with a boxer who can punch harder than you. So the Penguins really do have to get back to looking in the mirror and seeing what they are, not what they were. That's going to be huge for them. Hey, I'm getting some I agrees. I hope that's for me, everyone. So what time is it? I've done 45 minutes already. Theodore, rather, you won the shirt. Theodore says, I truly believe if we didn't trade Cole and Reeves, we beat Washington last year. I didn't believe that at the time. That's maybe a bit of hindsight driving, but it would have been a different series. How's that? I think Washington was destined last year. I truly think Washington was destined to win that Stanley Cup. And by the way, the Penguins are the most physical Penguins team that they have been in a long time. The number of hits and the rate of hits with Letang, who's on his career norm, Johnson, who is doing more hitting than any Penguins defenseman in recent memory. He really is just laying the body to people. Jamie Alexiak, Brian Dumoulin. I don't know what the Penguins' record for hits is, or record for hits by a blue line crew, but they might. This team. In fact, we'll have to sick Bob Grove on that, perhaps. Grover could find out in 5 minutes for us. Okay, let me see if anybody else went unanswered. I want to make sure everybody gets to participate here. So let me jump over to Twitter as well. I wanted to just get into a lot of the replies I was getting last night. Oh, they've saved me a seat at the wine and cheese mixer when the Matt Cullen scapegoat folks have the party with the Jack Johnson scapegoat folks and the Daniel Sprong in the top line brigade. Do I need to? I feel like if you're watching 45 minutes of me talking hockey here, that you don't need Daniel Sprong refresher course. There's Crosby and Johnson. We bought that photo last night. I liked the photo, wanted to use it. I'll let you admire it. Let me get back to me here. There we are. In fact, let's get rid of that. Let's put that on. JK tweeted me, Dan, when was the last time a team won with almost half of the roster being 31 plus? From the age perspective alone, it made no sense to sign Johnson, Cullen, or Hornquist. If you're going to build around the core 50, Letang, Malkin, Crosby, why would you sign more 30-plus-year-olds? In part, JK, the guys who are younger are all off the market. There really weren't young guys they could go out and sign. Teams are keeping their young guys. And that's why free agents are 28, 29, 30, 31, in that range. It's because, if a guy is 25 years old and he's a free agent, that means his team didn't want him, for the most part. Obviously, there are a few exceptions. John Tavares was young enough, and, well, you saw how much money he collected. So that's why. If you have to add via free agency, you're going to be adding guys who are about 30, give or take a couple years. Let's see here. Dan Kingerski must have just bought a Cullen jersey. Really? Really? Nobody said scapegoat. Well, no one said the word, but everybody else... Anyway... Cullen flat out stinks, says random hockey guy. He may be great in the room, but he's hit the wall at 42. This is akin to Shiro bringing back Scuderi. Penguins have better options. His numbers don't lie. But you... This is the garbage I have to deal with. What do you say to that? What cogent response could I give to that without just going, you're an idiot? I don't know what else to say. Like, I've watched Cullen intently in training camp, in preseason? Did you not see the Western Canada road trip when Cullen played 15 and 16 minutes as the third-line center and shut the opposition down? Did you not see that? No, people don't see that because they come to an emotional conclusion based on something they saw one time. They grab onto it with both hands and cling to it and then try to beat others to accept it. Yeah. Believe me when I tell you. When Jack Johnson stinks, I'm going to tell you. When Daniel Sprong is good, I'm going to tell you. When Matt Cullen is done, I'm going to tell you. Because that's how I roll. I'm going to analyze things and analyze them and analyze them. And even sometimes the team gets mad at me. Even sometimes the Penguins get mad at me for micro-analyzing this or that. You know, I guess that's the role of a journalist and an analyst, when he rolls into a team locker room. Well, that's why a lot of guys don't. I never rolled into locker rooms for a long time in my career. I didn't want those personal relationships to affect my analysis. And even now, I make a point. There are a couple guys, and I'll give you some inside baseball here. There are two guys in particular. And boy, I'd be surprised if they saw this. But maybe they'll get upset. Who like to kind of sidle up to a couple players after they talk to the media. They'll like kind of do like a little end around and go talk to, that player and be a little buddy and they never talk to the lower players. It's always the high end players. So it goes. That's not how Pittsburgh hockey now is. That's never how I'll be. God forbid when Sidney Crosby's skates are gone, I will say it then, but with a lot of reverence. I'll say it, but I will never not shoot straight with you. So you never have to question or wonder about my integrity. I'm always going to give it to you whether you like it or not. Fat Man on Guitar wants to know if there's any room at the wine and cheese mixer with the Johnson scapegoat, Cullen scapegoat, and Daniel Sprong is great party. He lost his tickets in a tragic nacho mishap. All right, Fat Man. I'll see what I can do about getting you some extras here. Let's see here. Yeah, the quality of chances, says Derek on Twitter, the quality of chances the Penguins are giving up. Yeah, listen, when a team is giving up high volume chances, that can mean, they're being swarmed. But when they're giving up high quality chances, that means mistakes. Last night, Malkin turnover in the neutral zone, left Maude and Alexiak naked. Daniel Sprong as well, missing his guy. And Penguins forwards getting frustrated. Matt Cullen talked about that last weekend. Forwards getting frustrated and getting away from their game. It's a thing. And the Penguins are in it right now. The Penguins are definitely in that soup. I'd like to see some fresh blood dropped in via trade, via call-up. I think the Penguins really could use a couple wide-eyed kids who were just like, wow, let's go. This is awesome. I'm so happy to be here. I'll do anything to keep my sweater. Like Connor Sherry, like Brian Rust used to be. I think the Penguins could benefit from some young and stupid. So that's just about everything. I would ask you to like and share this chat, or if you like one of the articles we put out, the report card late last night and this morning, the full analysis, the Juuso Riikola story, I'd ask you to drop that out as well. I thank everybody for hanging out and doing these crazy long chats. If you're a Republican in Pennsylvania today, you can probably stay home. I'm not telling you to vote. I don't really care if you voted. I think our races are pretty much decided. I'll be watching election coverage tonight to see a lot of the swing house races. By the way, you want to know what I do some in my spare time? I analyze politics too. I'm not going to tell you my politics, libertarian mostly. I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to preach to you or anything like that. But what's been fascinating to me is the number, like the House districts that have been swing votes that are up for grabs tonight. were Romney districts. And most of them were very slight Trump districts. Like Romney won most of these swing House seats by 6, 7, 8 points. And Trump won them by like 0.5 or 1 point. And so it's that middle of the road, independent, soft Republican that's going to decide a lot of tonight. I find that fascinating, where our country might be going. Anywho, there's your political analysis, Mr. Nate Silver. You're welcome. I'm Dan Kingerski. This is Pittsburgh Sports Live. We will talk again real soon. Until then, kids, have fun.